Hey everyone, welcome back to Achieve Ed. My name is Adyant, and today we are going to be talking all about college interviews. From what exactly are interviews, how do you prepare for them, to even some tips and tricks in how to ace the college interviews. Now, before we get started, as always, please like the video below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you get our latest videos. Also, whether you're a freshman in high school just getting started and looking into the college admissions process, or a senior even who's working on those essays, if you need any sort of help, please feel free to contact us. We are providing 30-minute free consultations. The link for these consultations is in the description below. Again, we are the Achieve Ed team. We're providing free 30-minute consultations. Something new for our program, we are also providing quick and easy essay reviews. If you wish, if you need some help, whether it be for the supplemental essays, the Common App, or even the letters of continued interest, if you need someone to review those essays, you need a group of students, we are here. And again, the link for those quick and easy essay reviews is in the description below. Now let's talk first about what are these interviews and how do they actually happen. Now, college interviews are really for the school to get to know you more as an applicant, right? Usually, you either submit essays, you submit your activities, you submit all these different things that you did in high school, and you talk about your passions, your interests, but you really aren't able to really talk with your admissions officers much. That is exactly what the interviews are basically for. Usually, for most schools, they connect you with an alumni from the school who volunteers to set up these interviews. Usually, again, these are alumni, but they can even be admissions officers. Now, this is also based on the school. Now, for some schools, they recommend interviews, while others really try and encourage you to do it or require college interviews to take place. Now, the way it works is you basically set up a time to either meet in person, or especially this year during the pandemic, it will be online through platforms like Zoom, and you schedule a time for the interviewer to get to know a bit about you. Now, one thing people mistake this interview for is a more formal, almost like the types of interviews that you might get for like jobs. However, this is not the case at all. Most college interviews are very informal. They're basically conversations. The idea is for the alumni or the interviewer to get to know a bit about you and report back those results about like what they got to learn from you as a person to the admissions committee, so that can be one more factor in their decision. But it's also for you to get to learn a bit about the school and what the alumni thought about the school and its various characteristics, so that you can also get to see from another student's or former student's perspective, do you fit into that school and that school environment. Now, in order to get an interview, usually most students have to submit their application already to the university, and in some cases the interviewer might email you after you submitted the application. It might take about 1 to maybe even 3-4 weeks for them to contact you to schedule this interview, or again, depending on the school, you might have to reach out to the school and they might have like a set program for you to pick a time, pick an appointment for you to get that interview spot. Now that we have that taken care of, let's talk about some common questions in the interview process. So again, this is a very casual conversation between you and your interviewer. It's the whole point is for you to get to know a bit about the university and for them to get to know a bit about you more than what your essays, more than what your activities and your honors tell you. Now, let's talk about some common questions that your interviewer may ask. One of the most common questions asked by an interviewer is basically, tell us about yourself. Sometimes they might be more specific. They might talk about, tell us about your interests, your academic interests, some hobbies that you have. But sometimes they might just leave it up to you for you to talk exactly about what you want to talk about yourself. Do you want to talk about academic interests? Do you want to talk about your hobbies, what you've done in high school? It's really an open-ended question for for them to get to know a bit about you and what you like to do, who you are as a person. Some other questions includes, tell us what you did in high school, right? Basically, the interviewer wants to know what were you passionate about in high school and what did you do. Now, apart from these sort of basic questions about tell us about yourself or some things you've done in high school, interviewers might even ask questions that maybe you never really talked about in any of those essays or maybe are not shown in your ComNap. For example, they might ask about, your academic strengths and weaknesses. Again, that's based on you, and you would have to talk more about what you think are your academic strengths and weaknesses. They might even ask something like, tell about a time, about an obstacle that you faced, a challenge that you faced, and how you overcame it, similar to one of the Common App prompts. Another question they might ask is, tell something that you would change about your high school. Right? They want to know that you are thinking, that you are actively thinking. They want to see what your perspective is on these different topics. And mainly it's really to see if you're able to, thoroughly answer these questions. Again, there usually isn't any right or wrong answer. They are just trying to get to know a bit about you. It's, again, more conversational. Lastly, another kind of question they can ask is, what is your favorite thing to read? What are your favorite books, maybe, right? So those are the types of questions they can ask. Again, it's more informal. It's not like a set of questions. You don't have to memorize these answers in advance. It's mainly for the college interviewers to get to know a bit about you. Sort of, you can think about it like icebreaker kind of questions. Now that we've talked about a couple common questions that college interviewers can ask you, let's talk about some advice and some tips and tricks about how you can really do well in your college interviews. Now, the first advice I would say is, again, it's a very casual conversation. Now, again, if you're doing the interview in person, wear something slightly formal. Don't try and be too casual with what you wear. But again, you don't have to come in there with a suit and all. Again, it depends on the colleges, but it's more business casual. Now, another tip I would say, even if the college that you're applying to does not require college interviews, if they do provide it to you as an option, I recommend taking it. College interviews can mainly only help you. They rarely can hurt your application process. Again, it's a great way for you to get to know a former student, most likely, who went to that university, and get to know a bit about that university, student life, those things that you're interested about and that you want to know before you actually think about enrolling in the university. The next tip I would say is, while you may not want to, prepare by like memorizing facts about the colleges that you're applying to. Again, they probably not going to ask any technical questions. Try and research a little bit into the college, right? At least try and know maybe if it's a research project you want to get into, maybe that specific research projects you want to get into. Or if it's clubs, something like that. Try and research a little bit about that college so that you know a little bit information on what you plan to do if you were accepted and you planned on enrolling into that college. So just get to know a little bit about that school. Again, it doesn't have to be super in-depth information. Now, furthermore, you also want to come up with a few questions that you want to ask the interviewer. Usually, interviewers, in the end of your interview, when you answer all those questions, they will provide you with an opportunity to ask them some questions. It shows that you're interested in that college, you're interested in learning more about that college, but it simply provides you also with another opportunity for you to get to know a bit about topics related to that college. And it might even help you make a decision later on as you're making a decision on which college to enroll in. So come up with a couple of questions. Right? Maybe you could ask the interviewer what clubs they participated in. You can ask a bit about student life, some unique college traditions that's only for that particular college. Things like that are great questions to ask your interviewer. And lastly, I cannot stress this enough. While most people don't think college interviews are important, that's actually not the case. College interviews can show the admissions committee more about who you are. Admissions officers are only reading what you have written, right? And if you are a great writer, and if you have impressed the college admissions officers already with what you've written? Great. Amazing. However, this provides an opportunity for them to get to know a bit about you through the lens of another person who actually has seen you in person and has talked to you. Because admissions officers most likely are not going to be the ones talking to you. They are going to make a decision only based on what they see in your application. These interviews are a great way for them to see how what another person thought of you, right? As a person, as an applicant, as a student. Because they actually talked to you, and it wasn't just through reading your essays and looking at your activities. So again, college interviews are a great opportunity for you to show the college who you really are as a person, which applications may or may not allow you to do. And that is pretty much all I'll say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped. If you have any questions or comments on what I've said, feel free to comment down below. Again, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks.